Hey guys, I want to show you how I do my cakes. I've been asked this question a ton, and I've made a video on it kind of, and I've talked about it in some other, like in some vlogs I think, but I want to show you how I make my cakes. The recipe, it's not a recipe because I use a box cake mix. I know a lot of people just do not want to do the cake mix thing. I think, however, that the Pillsbury company has literally spent millions of dollars coming up with a good recipe that tastes good. Now, I don't think I can do it better. I know people say, oh my gosh, you should use fresh ingredients. This is flour, salt, sugar, whatever. The only difference is it's already pre-measured out in this box for me. The flour that you're using that you buy off the shelf is this same flour. Anything that is on the shelf has preservatives in it to make it shelf stable. Unless you're, cracking your own wheat and grinding it down, you're not doing fresh either. I'm not knocking you. I'm not. I just think it's kind of, it gets a bad rap when cakers choose to use a box. I think it's a very smart way to go. It's pre-measured. It's quicker. And it's really good. Now, on the back, if it says, this is the chocolate I use. I use Devil's Food for the chocolate. I use the white one. And I also use the butter one. And I will do a recipe with this one coming up soon. You will love the one that I'm going to show you that I make out of this box. But on the back, it says 3 eggs. You're going to use 1 or 2. I use 1. You can use 2 if you want to. More than they call for on the back of this box. Now, the oil is 1/2 cup. I use 1 whole cup instead. And then I use the same amount of water that it calls for. So I double the oil and I add 1 more egg than is called for. I mix it up just like the box says. I put the cake mix in. I put 1 cup of water. I put 1 cup of oil, and I prefer the Crisco oil. This makes it taste the best. I've bought the Walmart brand, and it makes it taste a little funny, so I always go with the Crisco. The box called for 3 eggs, but I'm going to add 4. Now I'm going to mix it. I spray my pans with Baker's Joy. I'm going to pour it up. I pop these in a 325-degree oven to bake for about 20-25 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean. Depends on how fast your oven cooks and all that. I do it at 325 so that you don't get that hump, like that hump doesn't form in the middle when you cook it slower. So I pop these in there in a 325-degree oven. Another thing that I think is very, very important, when you take your cakes out of the oven, never let them sit uncovered. Immediately, the minute you pull them out, either cover it with aluminum foil, cover it with a bigger pan, just something to trap that steam and force it back into the cake, because I don't know why you would work to make a moist cake and then let it sit on the counter and for all of its moisture evaporate and then spray simple syrup back in it. Just save that original moisture that you put in there and it will be so moist. Y'all, I have had so many compliments on how moist my cakes are, and that is all I've ever done. I've always used a box mix. I've always used more oil and more eggs than it calls for, and I've never let them sit uncovered. That will make you the most moist cake ever, and it makes a very good quality carving cake. It's very dense. You can carve it easily if you want to bake it like in a bigger pan and then carve it. It's a great carving cake because it is so moist. It's not dry, it doesn't crumble. It is amazing. Also, another trick that I use, I freeze my cakes. Even if I'm going to be icing them today, I will take them out of the oven, cover them, let them come to room temperature. I wrap it in plastic wrap, and then I pop it in the freezer to freeze. In my opinion, that keeps you from having the bubbles and the bulges in your icing, because those air bubbles, because the cake is frozen, when you are touching it, when you're icing it and then touching it to put fondant on there, the air bubbles don't settle out, you know, they don't squeeze out and then give you a bulge in your buttercream or your fondant. So that's another trick that I use. Okay, this is them straight out of the oven. And then I just take and cover, each of them with a bigger pan like that. I just put them like that and let them cool. Never let them sit uncovered. Trap that steam. Okay, here is my cake that I have let cool. You can see how easily it dumps out. You can see how moist it is. Look at the moisture in it. I'm going to show you the inside of it is very, very moist. Let me show you how moist it is. Normally, when you make cake pops, you have to add some icing to it. You can take and make a cake pop out of my cake because it is so moist, you don't need to add anything else. It is just a very moist cake. It is really good. So that is my tips, guys. Start with a box mix because they've already perfected the recipe and all that kind of stuff. You add double the oil, 1 more or 2 more eggs than is called for, and the amount of water that is called for. Or you can put milk in place of the water. I don't, but you can put milk in place of the water. Always, always, always cover it when it comes out of the oven. Never let that steam evaporate. Trap that steam in your cake because that is your moisture. That's my secret to an amazingly moist, dense, carvable cake. If you give this a try, I don't think you'll be sorry. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.